Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the midweek check-in. So I am talking tonight about how to start creating your blueprint. All right. So I'm really excited about this topic tonight because I've talked about it a few times over the past couple of weeks, just preparing for the new year, getting yourself situated, getting yourself ready. So tonight, that's what we're going to be talking about. So creating your blueprint or starting to create your blueprint. All right. So if you guys are joining me, please go ahead and let me know that you're here. Okay. Don't be sneaky. Let me know your name. Let me know where you're joining me from. And just say hello, wave to me. Okay. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and hit hashtag replay so I know that you were here. Okay. So tonight I'm going to be I'm using my phone right now, but I'm also going to be monitoring comments and stuff on my Facebook page on my laptop. All right. So if you guys are coming back to join me and you are, you know me from like my quick tip videos, or you've been on my page for a little bit, welcome back. For those of you who are new, welcome if this is the first time that you're watching a video or the first time that you're seeing me live. Okay. So let me just introduce myself for those of you who don't know. My name is Sharana Patrice, and I am the go-to empowerment and lifestyle coach who teaches women how to follow their passions to build a life that they think is impossible. And specifically, I like working with women who are trying to navigate their corporate 9 to 5. They may be dealing with strife and trying to figure out how they can build a happier life, a more fulfilling life. And I help them navigate that by helping to create a blueprint, whether that's for their current career or for a new business or something else that they feel passionate about. Okay. So that's just a little bit about me. And tonight I really wanted to focus on creating a blueprint because I've spoken about it and I don't know if people really just know what that means and or how to do it, okay? So tonight I'm going to share with you guys how I do that, my specific process for that, okay? So other people may have their own way of doing it. This is just kind of my way of doing it. And so I'm going to share that with you. So I just want you to feel free to copy it, use it. You can take the parts that you feel resonate with you. You can leave the rest, but just tweak it and make it your own. Okay. So, before we get started, let me just check the comments and my page to make sure that I am on the right page here. Okay. So, again, if you guys are joining me, welcome. Go ahead and let me know that you're here. Wave to me. I can't see anything on these lives. You know that I'm a little bit challenged. All right. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So basically when I'm talking about creating a blueprint, I'm talking about creating like a design or a plan for your life, okay? So really a blueprint is just like a collection of goals or a grouping of goals so that you can have a focus of where you want to go and the things that you want to accomplish, all right? So when I say life goals or life blueprint, honestly, I think you would not create like a whole entire blueprint for your whole life in this moment. But specifically what I'm talking about is setting a plan or a blueprint or sort of like a roadmap to get you from where you are right now to where you want to be going into the next year. All right. So specifically for tonight, we're going to be talking about planning out the goals and things that you want to accomplish in 2020. All right. So for those of you who have gone through this process, or maybe you have your own way of doing it, that's great. I would love to hear like what you do and kind of how you prepare for the next year. And I know we're not even in November, but honestly, you guys, it's once Halloween hits and we get into November, it's going to be Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and it's like the time is going to go by really quickly. All right. So I think right now is a good time to start thinking about and preparing and planning to create a plan. Creating and planning a plan. You know what I mean? Getting your plan in place for what you want to do in 2020. And so before we actually, I was going to just like walk you through the steps and just tell you, but I feel like it would be a little bit more useful if I actually wrote out, and kind of showed you visually. I know some people are good with just hearing the information and putting into action. Some people need to see. So that's why I have this board or this paper up here, because I'm going to walk you through and kind of just give you examples of how you can create your own blueprint for your life or for next year. Okay. So for me, this exercise is going to be, like I said, a little bit more interactive, a little bit more creative. But typically what I do is I literally just write everything down. And I highly recommend that you write down whatever goals, whatever things you want to do, whatever the plan is, write it down, okay? The chances of you actually completing the goal, accomplishing the goal, or getting what you need out of what, or getting what you want, is more increased if you write it down, okay? Like literally write it down, not type it on the computer or the laptop, like, but literally like pen to paper, write it down, okay? So, so we're gonna get started. So first things first is, if you've never done this before, I would suggest go ahead and get like a pen and a paper. If you want to follow along, you're welcome to do that. Or you could just watch the video, and then I'll go ahead and like save the replay so you guys could, review it again. Okay. All right. So first step is, and I'm going to stand up so you guys can see. So the first step is, let me move this chair. The first step is going to be a brainstorm. So it's just a brainstorm, and it's what I call a desire dump. All right. So you're literally just going to, every thought, every idea that you have about the goals that you want or things you want to do, you're just going to put it down on a piece of paper. All right. For purposes of this, we're going to write it on this paper here. Okay. So you're just dumping. All right. So I'm just going to give you a few examples. And to simplify it, you're basically going to categorize into like two main buckets. All right. The first bucket is your personal goals or personal things you want to accomplish. And then the second bucket is business goals or like career goals. All right. So that's the simplest way to do it. So we would do personal. Okay. And then on this side would be like business and career. Okay. So for those of you who have a business, this would obviously be your business. For if you're working a 9-to-5 or you have a job or career, this would be career goals. Okay. So that's like the main way that I would separate the buckets. Another way that you can do it, this is a little bit more detailed. Like if you want to get like really down into specifics, you can categorize it into like areas of your life. So I talked about in previous videos about like how you have balance in your life. Being healthy and whole is not just about like what you eat and your physical like exercise. It's actually like a whole grouping of categories that come together that help you feel whole. So it's like your career, your relationships, your spirituality, your finances, that sort of thing, right? So another way you can do it if you want to get more detailed is you can break your goals into categories, all right? So you can do like, let's just say, relationships. Okay. And then you could do like finance or finances. What's another one? Another one. Oh, like personal development. That's a good one. All right. And then maybe another one is health and wellness. All right. All right. So hopefully you guys can see that. I know it's kind of like tiny. I don't know if you can see. And hopefully you can hear me. All right. So this is like at the basic level up top. This is where you want to be: personal, business. And then if you want to get more detailed, relationships, finance. And actually you can have as many categories of this as you want. I actually there's an exercise that I do with my coaching clients. It's called a Circle of Life. And so there's like about 8 to 10 categories of areas of your life, and you actually kind of map out where you feel like you fall. It's actually a circle, but you're basically doing like on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you feel like you are? Okay. So whichever areas you feel like are most important to you, those are the areas that you would capture. Okay. So let's start with personal. Okay, so I'm just going to come up with, again, this is just a brain dump. It's just very simple, easy. Like we're not going all in. We're not being detailed. We're just like basic. Okay, high level. All right, so let's just say personal. One of the things you want to do is you want to learn a new language. Okay, so let's put learn new language. Okay, let's say another thing you want to do is, let's see, what's another one? I think I wrote another example. You want to buy a house. Okay. And then maybe another thing, let's see, you want to take a trip, take a vacation. Okay. All right. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to go through this whole process, and you're just going to sit down and you're just going to write out anything that comes to mind, like anything that you feel like, okay, coming up that you want to do. All right. Don't stress about it. It's literally unstructured. You don't have to be like, not at this level. You don't have to be that detailed. Okay. Just kind of get the points out. All right. Okay. So let's do a couple of examples for like business or career. So let's just say, let's say one of them is you want to grow your business, okay? Grow my business. Okay. Let's see, what else? Let's do something career-based. Let's say you want to get your MBA. Get my MBA. And then maybe a third one is, let's see, let me think. What could a third one be? What would you want to do? Let's say launch website. Okay, just making this up. Okay, so you would actually go through and, like I said, dump everything out. And actually another thing you can do if you want to be more creative, like get some sticky notes like this, like these little yellow sticky notes, and you can actually write them out here. So like, for example, let's do learn new language. All right. And so you'd have these sticky notes, and then if you do it this way, sorry, I dropped my sticky note. If you want to do it like more specific, you could just take the sticky notes and you just kind of put it under the categories, right? So you just put like the different goals. Okay, you just place them underneath the categories, right? So this is another way to do it. This is actually a good way to do it with the sticky notes, because once you go through this process, like you're literally going to dump everything out, and then the next step is to prioritize. So it's easier to prioritize when you have the sticky notes. You can just kind of move them all around, okay? And the other thing I wanted to suggest is that when you dump everything, don't feel like you have to accomplish every single goal, okay? Because that's going to be the second step. You need to prioritize what specifically you're going to do. Because if you have like a list of 30 things that you want to do, that's a lot, okay? So you want to try to prioritize by like significance or importance to you, okay? So let's just say you have like a list of 30 business goals and a list of 30 personal goals. And I don't know if can you guys see it? Is it backwards? I think it's backwards. I'm sorry, you guys. I think it's backwards. But hopefully you can hear what I'm saying, okay? But basically what you want to do is, if you have like a whole bunch of things that you're trying to do, I would recommend just breaking it down to 3 major goals, like 3 major things, okay? So 3 for your business, 3 for personal, okay? And the reason why I say that is because it's easier to accomplish something when you chunk it down. When you have like 30 things that you're trying to do and 30 things that you're trying to accomplish, it's overwhelming, okay? You guys, you don't want to set yourself up to fail. So what I suggest you do is you prioritize, and this is what I would do, okay? So let's just say you have 30. That's a lot to go from 30 to 3. So what I would recommend is like reduce it by half, okay? So out of the 30, what are the top 15 things that you're trying to do? What are the top 15 things you're trying to do? Okay, then once you break that down, then again, go to the top 5, okay? Break it down to, or maybe go to 10, maybe like chunk, baby steps. Okay, so then out of the 15, what are the top 10? Okay, then out of the 10, what are the like top 5 things? And then out of those 5, what are your top 3? Okay, so that's how I would do it in chunks of 3. So you do like 3 at a time. So if you have the 15 or you have the 30, break it down to 3, and then you group it the next 3. Okay, so the first time you do, okay, your 3. This is like priority 1. Okay, so that's priority 1, the first 3, okay? Then what are the next 3 things? Like let's just say, for example, you complete these. What are the next 3 things that you want to do? Okay, so then you group those next 3. Okay, second priority, right? So, but what you're going to do is you're going to keep blocking them in groups of 3 until you get them all, into groupings. And basically what you want to do is focus on those top 3. Okay, going into the year, I would suggest just the 3. Okay, you can always add in new goals if you accomplish those 3, but if they're major goals, like for example, like growing your business, first of all, that's a very again, it's just a basic level, but there's a lot that could go into this. Like, what does this mean? Like, what are we really doing? Okay, and this could take you an entire year. Depending on what you're trying to do, you could have a plan for an entire year of how you're gonna get this done. Okay. Another example is buying a house. Like, buying a house is a very major thing, okay? So depending where you are right now and where you're trying to go, like maybe you have money saved, maybe you don't, maybe you have an agent, maybe you don't. But the thing is, that's a major thing. So you get to determine what are the top 3 things, and I highly recommend that you keep it at 3, you guys. Seriously, you can always add to it, but keep it at 3, all right? And the other thing is, as you're going through this process, like, you're not gonna take all 30 things with you into the next year. But you just want to keep a record of them and just have them somewhere. So that's why it's important that you write things down, okay? Because going into the next year, you can go back and look at your previous list to see, like, okay, well, what did I accomplish, or what did I have as my top priorities, or, what were my groupings, and do I want to continue going into the next year, okay? All right, so that's just, my recommendation. You don't have to follow that, but you may just be a really ambitious person. You just may be like, I'm killing it. I can do 10 things in 1 year. That's cool, but I highly recommend that you just do 3 at a time, okay? All right, so first step is dumping everything, dumping your desires, and doing the brainstorm, okay? So that's the first step. All right, let me write that down so you guys can see. So step number 1, this is step number 1, all right? So again, you could do business or personal, or you could get more detailed and you can break it out into like different categories, all right? And I actually like these sticky notes because you guys, seriously, where do we use sticky notes for? You might as well just use them for this, right? All right, so first step is brainstorm and desire dump. Okay? And then the second step is, I don't know if I wrote that here, prioritize. Okay, you're going to prioritize. Again, you're going to break things down into 3s. 3 is the magic number. Nothing more than 3, because you got to chunk it down. Because actually what we're going to do is we're going to break those 3 down into action steps, all right? So you don't want to do more than 3. Those 3 things are going to be what you're going to focus on for the entire year. And so everything that you do is going to map to those 3, okay? All right, so that's the second step. So let's just say we got our prioritization down. We know what we're doing, okay? The next step is, I got to get another sheet of paper. We're going to make them smart, all right? So let me move this over here. All right. All right, so next step is what you're going to do is you're going to, can you guys see this? Yeah, that's good. All right, so next step you're going to do is you're going to make these goals smart, okay? So remember, one of the goals we had was we were going to buy a house, right? Okay, so step number 3, make them smart. Okay, so you guys, just a little background. I'm a project manager. I'm about process. So if you guys have ever heard of SMART goals, it's literally like a way that you create your goals so that they're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're time bound, and I forget, I think I'm missing one. They're also, what's the word? Not relevant. What is the word? Hold on. I'm missing the word. Realistic. Sorry, realistic. For me, I use the word realistic. Okay, so SMART goals. So the first thing it has to do is be specific. The next thing it has to do is be measurable. Okay? Oh, I'm spelling that wrong. Measurable. The next thing it has to do is be attainable. Okay, can you actually attain it? All right. The next thing it needs to be, what did I say? Realistic. Okay, realistic. Now, some people switch out the R word for like relevant. What's another word? You think actually, yeah, realistic or relevant, I think, are the two words here. And then the T stands for timely or time bound. Okay, so when you create your goals, you want to like measure them against these 5 criteria. Okay, so I'm not going to go into I mean, I can go do a whole section on this, but this is not the point. I just want you kind of to get the gist of it. If you've never created SMART goals before, this is what it stands for. Okay, so you want it to be specific. So that just means like, what are you trying to do? So specific, you need to create the action. Like, what is the action word? Okay, what are you actually doing? Okay, be as specific as possible. And then measurable, it's how are you going to measure it? Like, is there a number? Is there a metric? Like, how do you know that you're actually achieving the goal and getting to the goal? And then attainable is like, can you actually achieve the goal? So you want to reach a little bit higher and a little bit further out, but it's like, it should be a stretch, but it shouldn't be impossible. So like, for example, if you are in your business and you're making, say, like $1,000 a month in revenue, you would not create a goal that says, okay, I want to make $50,000 a month. Is that really realistic? Because like, it depending on what you have in place, it's like, okay, yeah, you want to increase, but you know, are you able to like move yourself in that direction so quickly, right? Or maybe it's, I want to go from $1,000 to $500,000 a month. Maybe that's more like, that's like very extreme. Okay, so that's not really typically a realistic or it's something that you can attain, right? And that kind of goes back into the realistic. Like, is it something that you can actually do, right? So based upon the things that you have done in the past, like, you have to take all these things into consideration, okay? Like, you can say, like, I want to be a millionaire, but if you're making $10 an hour doing whatever you're doing, like, are we really going to get there in a year? You know what I mean? So you really have to think about what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and can you get there within the time frame? Okay, so that's why it's important. The last one is timely and time bound. Like, how long are you gonna take to get there? What date are you actually gonna do this? When is it going to happen? All right, so you need to be as specific as possible. All right. Okay, so let's take our example of we're gonna do like a personal one and we'll do a business one. All right. So let's take our example of, what did I say? What do I want to do? Let's do the buying a house. Okay, so you want to buy a house, right? That was the initial, I guess the initial goal that we said, but that's not specific enough. Okay, what kind of house do you want to buy? Where is the house? Like, when do you want to buy the house? Okay, so without going into, like I said, we can like literally have a whole hour going into how to create a SMART goal, but for the sake of time, oh, here we go. Something's going on with the connection. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or see me. If you're there, like, say hello. Let me know you're still there. You can hear me and see me. All right, so we're going to do a SMART goal for our house, okay? So let's just say we're going to do, okay, so I want to purchase a, let's see, I'll say 3,000 square foot house. Oh, square foot single family house. Okay. In Atlanta, let's say it's in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I am. In Atlanta, Georgia. And let's say we want to do that by December 31st, 2020. Okay. So that gives us plenty of time. All right. So that's number one. All right. So we want to purchase a house. We want to purchase a 3,000 square foot home, single family house in Atlanta, Georgia by 12/31/2020. Okay. So that's specific. All right. So what are we doing? We're purchasing a single family home. That's very specific. Okay. We have numbers in here, so we were specific about like what type of house we want. We want it to be 3,000 square feet. Actually, I should say 3,000 square feet plus, right? We want it to be single family, okay? What are we doing that? We're doing that by December 31st, 2020, okay? Now, is this a realistic goal, okay? So you have to, only you can determine that. Now, if I know nothing about buying a house, right? I may say, okay, well, I'm not sure if this is realistic yet, but this is something I really want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, which is the next step, we're going to break this down into actions because you have to do a little bit of research, okay? But I'm going to break this down. And then once you get a little bit more information, then you can determine, okay, that's realistic, okay? So this is like a process, all right, you guys? It's like, it's going to take time. You may sit down to do it like in one fell swoop, but it's not going to work like that. It may take a couple of days, may take a couple of weeks, all right? So, but you just want to make sure you have some specifics here in order, okay? You may want to add in here something we could do to improve this would be like, we can say something like, I want to put 20% down payment, okay? Okay, so again, specific, and then we have to figure out if this is attainable. Okay, so if you've already been saving your money and you know you've been trying to buy a house, this is probably going to be attainable for you, okay? Depending on the type of house you want to buy, all right? So this is just like a high-level example, all right, of how we would create a SMART goal. So just saying I want to buy a house, that's not specific enough, all right? But this is very specific. It's time-bound. It's measurable, okay? So the next step is going to be, well, we'll talk about the next step right now, but for right now, we're just going to create the SMART goals, okay? So that's our personal goal. And then for our business goal, let's see, what did we say? We were going to grow our business. Okay, grow our business is too broad. What are we trying to really do, grow our business? We want to do something a little bit more specific. So let's just say, let's see, what did I have down here? Let's just say it's not that you want to grow your business, but you want to grow your business by getting new clients, okay? So I'll just use my business as an example for coaching, okay? So let's just say I want to grow my business, and what that looks like for me is I want to get new clients, okay? So here's an example of how we can create this to be a specific, a SMART goal, okay? So I can say something like, I want to enroll 4 new clients per month. Let's see, into my 3-month coaching program, okay? And let's see. Okay, so basically I'm saying 4 clients per month into my coaching program. And I think, what am I trying to say? So basically what I want to do is, what's 4 times 12? I'm really not good at this math. Let me see. 4, 10, 12. What is that? Let me see. 48. Okay. Sorry. So the total is, so I want to have 48 new clients by the end of 2020. So I'll just put 12/31. Okay. So I'm basing this just on like clients, but like you can also make this like a financial type of goal. You can say something like, you know, I want to enroll 4 clients per month into my 3-month coaching program because I want to earn, you know, XYZ amount of dollars by the end of, right? So, but by doing that, you've already done the math, okay? But that's just kind of like high level example, like what we're talking about, okay? So it's really important that we break the goals down, all right? So again, we're creating the blueprint. The blueprint is really the plan, okay? It's the design, it's the plan for how we're going to get to our goals and the things that we want, all right? So the blueprint is going to consist of these groupings of goals, okay? I'm just doing these 2 high-level examples, one personal, one business. But basically, again, you want to create no more than 3 personal, no more than 3 business goals, okay? So once we get this step 3, make them SMART. The next step is step number 4, and that is to break them out into action steps, okay? So step number 4 is to break them down into action steps. Okay, so basically, these are really great, right? So we're specific. Again, like we may have to do a little bit more research on this one to figure out if we can actually attain this one, right, in 2020. But we're going to break this down. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take, again, remember I said no more than 3, because really you're going to have multiple like sub steps or like sub goals that are going to get you to this goal by this date. Okay. And what I like to do is work backwards. I usually work backwards. So if it's like, you're saying December 31st, 2020, well, that's a whole year, okay? So then I would work backwards and say, okay, well, like, if I want to buy a house by this date, that means I want to close on this date. So what do I have to do before that? So we back up a little bit. Okay, so in order to get to the closing table, who needs to be at the closing table? Is the real estate agent, the buyer, the seller? Okay, great. And then what do I need to have? Okay, well, I need to have my deposit. I need to have my my credit in order, right? So you're going to back up, right? So basically what you're going to do is another dump of what you think you need for these, like what steps you think you need to accomplish this, okay? So let's just say we're going to take this example of wanting to purchase a house, all right? So again, what do you need? Maybe you need a real estate agent, okay? What else do you need to buy a house? You need money, okay? So you need to figure out how much money you need, okay? Get money. I'm just going to put get money. Okay. What's another thing you need to do? You need to figure out, okay, we said Atlanta. Where in Atlanta? Where in Atlanta do you want to live? Okay, so like where, like target what area, okay? Then the other thing you need to do is, okay, you need to figure out, well, how much house can I afford, right? Okay, then you need to figure out, okay, well, is this the house you're gonna, I'm just saying, I think this example, we're gonna live in the house, but let's just say it was maybe you wanted to purchase a house because you wanted to, rent it out for, be a landlord, or maybe you wanted to have an Airbnb. So basically you're gonna list out all the action steps, like what would you need to do, okay? Now, here's the thing, if you don't know what to do, this is where you would do a search on your best friend, and her name is Google, okay? Or his name is Google, all right? So you just go to the internet, you type in, what do I need to prepare to buy a house? Or how can I buy a house? Or whatever the term is, like what are the steps I need to take to buy a house? So that's what I would do. If you had absolutely no clue what you needed to do, you would start there, okay? So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna break these out into action steps, okay? Contact a real estate agent. Maybe one of the steps is do a Google search. Do a Google search, okay? Contact a real estate agent. Figure out how much house you can afford. Figure out what area you want to live in, okay? Go through all the process. Create time to actually go look at homes and all those sorts of things, okay? So that would be an example of how you break these down into action steps, all right? And then for the business example, okay, we want to enroll clients, right? So let's just see. What is one thing that we need to do? Well, first of all, if I want to enroll 4 new clients, then that means, let's say, how many people should I be talking to? Okay, so let's say we can decide that I need, or decide how many people I need to do consults with, right? So how many people? Let's just say if I talk to 8 people, I usually can close 4. Then that means, or like if I usually close half of the amount of people that I talk to, that means I need to talk to 8 people, all right? So, and again, as you break down these action steps, you want to be as specific as possible, all right? So we need 8, I need 8 people, all right? What's another thing I need to do? What is my strategy? Maybe I need to figure out, well, how am I going to get referrals, okay? Okay, how to get referrals. Okay, what's another thing I may need to do? I may need to do ads. I may need to do ads so people know that I'm out there and I'm looking to do this coaching program. People need to know about me, right? So maybe I'll do ads. Okay, and then as you break these steps out, what you're going to find is as you keep going further down, there are going to be more things that you need to do, right? So again, goes back to my first statement about why I think you should really only focus on the 3 major goals, okay? Because as you can see, like as you break them down, you're basically going step by step, okay? It's like a pyramid or like a hierarchy, okay? So at the top part here, you are creating just a basic goal, like I want to buy a house, right? The next step is, okay, you make it smart, okay? Make sure it's specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, it's time bound, okay? It's realistic, okay? putting our numbers in, our time frames in, okay? Then the action steps is another step. Okay, well, what do I need to do to get here? What specifically do I need to do? Okay, and then some of those action steps may require sub steps. Okay, so you see why I'm saying that 3 is really a great number. Okay, and like I said, as you accomplish the 3, you can go back and add in the next set of 3, but you want to just make sure that you are focusing on those 3 goals. That is going to be the way that you get there. Okay. All right, and you want to make sure that it's attainable. And I would say this, let's say if you go through and you figure out, you know what, I said I want to buy a house in 2020, but it doesn't look like 2020, I may need more time, or, you know, once you get to the bottom of what you're trying to do, that's okay. This could still be a priority goal. You just put it to the side, okay, and you work on those steps, right? And then you may have to adjust the time frame a little bit. But it doesn't mean you don't have to work on it in 2020. It just means that you may not realistically be able to purchase in 2020 depending on the things and the actions that you need to take, all right? So you guys with me? If you're with me, thumbs me up, let me know. I don't know if you guys can hear me. All right, I don't know if you're there, but let me know, okay? All right, so let's just do a quick recap. So the first step is we're going to do a brainstorm or desire dump. Okay, that's the first step, all right? And starting to create your blueprint, all right? So remember, we just basic, unstructured, whatever flows, okay? And honestly, I suggest that you keep like a little notepad or like a little tablet with you. So as things come up throughout the year, throughout the week, throughout the month, you may have ideas or things that you want to accomplish. Write them down in your little notebook, okay? So that's what I do. I always keep like a notebook or something with me. All right. Another thing I do is I use the voice memo on my phone. Like if I'm driving, I get a lot of ideas when I'm driving. I have a lot of creative thoughts. So I'll just, click on the voice memo and I'll record whatever I'm thinking. So that's another good way to capture. So that way, when you go into this time when you're starting to create a blueprint, you actually like remember what it is that you wanted to achieve and accomplish. Okay. So that's the first thing. So do your desire dump and your brainstorm. The second thing you're going to do is prioritize, right? Again, we're going to look at, depending on how you do it. All right. So remember, we did it this way. Let me show you. There's 2 ways to do it. Okay, you could do it high level, personal versus business or career. Okay, just one high level, very simple. Okay, if you want to get fancy with it, you want to get a little bit more detailed and you like a little bit more detail, you can break it out into different categories of your life: health and wellness, finances, relationships, and you can create goals for those. But again, I would do the whole no more than 3. Like you can have a whole bunch of goals in here, but I would suggest no more than 3. And then actually, if you're going to do multiple categories, I would actually focus on one top goal for each, like one top wellness goal, one top finance goal, right? Focus on one for each. And then I would even break it down even more. Let's just say you had like, I don't know, maybe 6 categories of things that you wanted to work on. I would again break it down and prioritize the top 3. What are the top 3 things you want to work on first, and then focus on those, and then go to the next 3. Okay, so that's just my suggestion, because that way you feel like you're accomplishing. When you have too many things on your plate, too many things that you're trying to accomplish, it doesn't work out. Okay, doesn't mean that you're not going to do those other things, you're not going to get to those other goals, but you have to prioritize. Is it something you really have to do in 2020, or is it something you really have to do within the next 6 months, right? Only you can decide that, but it's good to prioritize so that you know where to focus. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing you need to do is you need to make them SMART. Okay, back to this page. All right, so we're making the goal SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, right? Timely, time-bound. Okay, we want to, what are we doing? When are we doing it? How are we measuring it? Is it realistic? Can we achieve it, right? We're not going from $1,000 a month to $500,000 a month, because that's just not realistic, okay? So you want to make sure they're SMART, okay? Then, so these are the SMART goals. Once you break down the SMART goals, the next step is to break them down into action steps. That's step number 4. Break them down into action steps, okay? So that's the next thing we're going to do. All right, so that's what we did here. So you're basically, this last step though may take some time. You may have to do some research. You may have to Google. You may have to figure out, okay, well, how do I get this house? Or how do I, increase my clients to 4 new clients per month? What is it that I need to do to make sure that I can achieve that goal, okay? So that's step number 4. And then I would say the last thing that you want to, this is like more of a bonus. So the last thing that you want to do is, I would say to create a blueprint snapshot. So basically what this is if you were to achieve these goals, so let's say, for example, I only have 2 major goals. I want to buy this house, okay, and I want to enroll my four new clients every single month, okay, consistently every single month, all right? So the blueprint snapshot is literally like a little paragraph or a story that you write in present tense as though the goals that you set have already been achieved. Okay? So you're going to sit down and you're going to write, okay, if I had my house and if I had my 4 clients a month, what am I thinking? What am I saying? What am I doing? How am I feeling? So put yourself in that position and visualize exactly what your life would look like, okay? So it's a written exercise though. So I would suggest that get into a quiet space. If you have a sacred space, I don't know if you guys have sacred spaces, but that's another topic I can talk to you about. But creating a space for yourself where you can pray, be, innovative, meditate, whatever it is, it's your personal space. But I would suggest go into your sacred space, get quiet, and really think about, okay, if you achieve these goals, what would your life look like? And when you're creating the snapshot, you want to create it with all the goals in mind, right? So you would literally sit down and say, write out something like, I'm so happy and I'm so grateful that my business is growing, it's thriving. I've earned 4 clients per month consistently since the beginning of the year, and I have consults all the time. I'm enrolling clients in my 3-month program, and business is great, business is booming, and I also am on track to I actually bought my house. I just closed on my house on whatever date, December 31st, 2020. It is 3,000 plus square feet. It's in the location that I wanted. It is in the price range that I wanted. I had the down payment that I needed. You're basically talking about it as though it's already happened, okay? Visualize it, see it. Be as descriptive as possible. But you really just want to create the vision for what it is that you're trying to accomplish with your blueprint, and you have to see it, okay? So I highly recommend writing it down. Again, that's a bonus, but what it helps you to do is to kind of place yourself in that position as though you've already achieved whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. What do you look like? What do you feel like? What are you saying? What are you doing? What is your life like now that you've achieved these goals, okay? So I highly recommend doing that. And then the other thing you can do is, again, in addition to the bonus, once you write it out, you can type it up and make it nice and pretty, put it in a frame, put it on your desk or somewhere where you're going to see it every day, on your bathroom mirror, on the refrigerator, someplace where you're going to see it every day, okay? And actually take time to review and read, all right? And then once you get all these, the set of goals down, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to write everything out, because I believe in, again, writing it down. So I'm not in my office right now, but behind me I just have a list of personal goals, and I have a list of business goals, and underneath I have the 3 main ones, but there's multiple kind of sub goals, and I keep them in my office, and I at least at minimum I look at them every quarter, but I try to look at them every month just to make sure okay, am I on track? Am I accomplishing these goals? But the thing is, you have to keep seeing it. You have to, but you have to do it in a way that you are aware and you are present. Okay. So if you put it in your, let's say you put it in your office, and after a while, it kind of starts to get a little bit stale. You're so used to seeing it that you kind of ignore it. Switch it up. Take it, put it in the bathroom. Okay. So when you're brushing your teeth, read through your goals. Okay. Read through your story when you're brushing your teeth, or okay, maybe you get to go in the bathroom every morning. That becomes a little bit you're ignoring it. Put it on the refrigerator, okay? Put it in places that you're going to be forced to look at it, Okay, switch up the location. And again, you can even do a check-in, like a forced check-in. Put a little reminder on your phone, a calendar invite that says like every quarter you're going to take a look at these, or every month you're going to take a look at these, or every 2 weeks you're going to look at, okay, where am I? Okay, I suggest depending on the goal, like, okay, if the goal is for the house, I absolutely would break it down again. I go backwards. Okay, so figure out, what are you trying to do per quarter? Where do you need to be for each quarter? Okay, and then after that, back up a little bit. Where do you need to be each month? Okay, in order to get to this goal. And then break it down a little bit more. Before that, where do you need to be every week? Okay, and then break it down again. What do I need to be every day to get to this goal? All right, so I want you guys to just like really think about that. I know this is like a lot of information, but this is just, again, my way of doing it. It's my process. If you have another way that you do your, kind of your plan for the year, or how you map that out, please do share in the comments. I think it would be helpful to just kind of see how other people, go through their process. So for me, this is a process, right? And again, as far as time-wise, it really depends on the type of person you are. I'm really slow. So this process, like, I just kind of went through like a high level, but this is probably going to take me like some time, like maybe a few days, maybe like a week or so, to actually like really get clear about first, what it is that I want, like what is it that I'm trying to accomplish, and then again breaking it down, like I said, are these, like, making them prioritizing them, like what are the things I really, really want, and then the next step is making them smart. And so I would say this too, like, just because you create this blueprint doesn't mean that it's a cement and set in stone, okay? You have the ability to tweak it, to change it, to alter it, and adjust it as you see fit and as you need to, okay? This is really just a way to guide you. It's a roadmap. It's a plan, because it's just like what I told you, a GPS. If you don't know where you are, there's no way for you to know where you're going to go, right? So when you go in the car and you're trying to get from point A to point B, and when you plug in the address, the GPS has to know where you are right now. Or otherwise, it's not going to be able to tell you how to get to your destination, right? So it's really saying, okay, from this point to this point, these are the things that I need to do. And the reason why I feel strongly about this, and I actually just recently started doing this a few years ago. Before, I wasn't creating a blueprint. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a direction. I just was kind of like, I'm just going with the flow. And it's okay to go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to force things or, kind of push and pull. But at the same time, you need to have direction. You need to have focus. And the reason why you need to write things down and to have them set is so that you can always come back to that. Okay? You can get sidetracked because there's going to be things that come up throughout the year. There are going to be things that are outside of what you're trying to do, and they're going to sound really good. And you're going to be like, oh, wow, I need this. Or especially personal development stuff. If you are a personal development guru and you are a person that, like, every time something new comes on or a new book, you're like, I need to buy that. I need that training. I need this. So you need to focus. Like, before you make decisions about your business or about like your personal life, go back to your blueprint, your grouping of goals, and decide, does this align with what I said I want it to do? Does it align? Is it going to align at some point in the future, like with what I'm trying to accomplish for this year? Does it align right now? Does it really make sense? Do I need to buy this now? Do I need to purchase this now? Do I need to do this right now? Okay. So as you go forward, you're going to, things are going to come up. You're going to be distracted. I know even now, even having, like, I know specifically what I'm supposed to be doing for this year, what I was supposed to be doing, and I still was getting distracted. Like, things were coming up, and I was like, oh man, I need that, or oh, it just sounds so good. And then I realized I was buying all these things and purchasing all these courses, and lo and behold, I didn't even have time to sit down and actually put them into action, or actually sit down and do the training, actually sit down and do the webinar, actually sit down, because that's the thing, like, you can acquire all these things, but at some point you have to make a move. Like, you have to put it into action. So if you're busy looking over here at this shiny thing and then looking over here at this shiny thing, like, you're gonna get off course, okay? So the whole point of having the blueprint is so that you have a roadmap, okay? And guess what happens when you make a wrong turn with the GPS? What does it do? it reroutes you. So it's the same thing. So if you get a little bit off course, that's okay. You pull it back. Okay, go back to your goals. What did I say I wanted to do this year? Is this still in alignment with what I want to do? Okay, are these the things that I still want to do? All right, and you have the ability to change that, to add to it, take it away, whatever you want to do. But it's easier to get to where you want to be if you are more focused and you're clear about what it is that you're trying to do. Okay, because if you try to focus on 20 million things, you're not going to get anything accomplished. I promise you, it's not going to happen. All right. So hopefully this was helpful, you guys. I know I went a little bit longer than normal tonight, but I thought it was really important that I just kind of go through and show you what I mean when I say create a blueprint, because I know it sounds really good and it sounds like, oh, that's so cool, create a blueprint. But some people may not really know what that means or may not know how to get started or what to do. So this is just to help you kind of get started on getting that process going. And as far as the blueprint is concerned, like I said, once you get all your goals together, you understand your action steps, you write it all out and you look at it specifically. Okay, the next step would be to go into details and like actually map it out on the calendar. That's like a whole nother detailed step. But just to get started, I'll just recap. There's 4 main things that you need to do. The first thing is to do the brainstorm and the desire dump. Okay, just getting all the things out of your brain. Okay, getting them on paper. This is a great way to do it. If you have a flip chart or like a little sticky pad chart, you can buy these at like what's it called? Staples or Office Depot. Like you can get one of these charts, and then you just get these little sticky notes. Okay, and just make a creative process. Okay, some people I know are more visual. This may be an easier way to do it or look at it. Do it for yourself personally. If you are in a relationship or you're married, I would suggest you have a blueprint, just a personal one, and then you should also do one together. Do it with your family, do it with your kids. Like this is a good process to help your kids understand, like, you know, how to set goals and how to like focus and, you know, what you need to do to get there. Okay, so I highly recommend doing it as a couple, like I said, or marriage or whatever, just so you have like a vision of what you're both trying to accomplish together. You also can do it personally. All right, sorry, I'm getting off track. Okay, so brainstorm, do a desire dump. Second step is prioritize what you want to do. Okay, again, in groups of 3. 3 is the magic number. That's my magic number. You want to do 3. If you can get through the first 3, move on to the next 3. Okay, so just do it in groups of 3s, chunks of 3s. Okay, it's easier to focus and break it down that way. The third thing you want to do is make them SMART, which means you want them to be specific, you want them to be measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Okay, so when you break them down, you want them to be even more specific than, okay, I just want to grow my business. What does that mean? What does that look like? Okay, is it money? Is it people? Is it, a certain number of likes that you're trying to have, a certain number of sales you're trying to have? Like, what does that mean? Okay. And then the fourth and final thing is you want to break everything out into action steps. All right. Those are going to be like the specific things that you need to do. And you can also make those SMART too. Like as you go through and figure out what you need to do, you can be very specific about like what you need to do, how you need to do it, when you need to do it, and that sort of thing. All right. But again, we're only focusing on 3 because those 3 may branch out into multiple things that you need to do. All right. And if you guys can crush those 3, good for you. Crush those 3 and move on to the next. All right. And then, the last thing was the bonus. And the bonus is just creating that snapshot, that blueprint snapshot. It's literally like, it's a visioning exercise. You're going to write out in present tense what you are doing now that you've accomplished these goals, right? What does your life look like? How are you feeling? Who are you talking to? What are you doing? Now that you have this house, now that you have your 4 clients, or now that you've learned this new language, are you traveling? Are you, speaking it in the country? Like, what are you doing, right? So it's just a visioning process to get you in the mode of I'm already here. All right, you guys. So that's all I have tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you are joining me and I haven't seen you, please say hello. Let me know that you're here. Leave a comment. Give me a thumbs up. Wave to me. Whatever you need to do so I know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and hit #replay so that I know that you were here. If you think this video was helpful and you want to share it, please do. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. I'm definitely going to save this so that you guys can go back and just take a look at it. So you can, I know I'm kind of talking a little bit fast. If you're not able to write everything down, But again, just take your time, go through the process, take what you feel resonates with you, change what you feel doesn't, like make it your own process. This is supposed to be something that makes you feel good, okay? So don't stress about it. Don't get all, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like, if you have trouble with SMART goals, there's plenty of things that you can find on the internet. And actually I have a sheet. If you want to DM me, I can send you something that can help you create the goals. But there's plenty of things on, you can Google search it, how to create SMART goals, and you can look for examples of how to create SMART goals. Okay. So once you get your goals down and you're having trouble doing that, you can look that up. Again, like I said, I actually work with my clients with this type of process. And I also have to do this, I was saying, like, you can break it down into categories. I actually have this exercise that I do with my clients. It's called the Circle of Life. So I go through that process and help them to understand kind of like where they are. We don't go that deep in depth into like creating a blueprint, but it's more so just to figure out where they are and what's not in balance and kind of what they need to do to pull themselves back into balance for whatever category they feel, right? So again, I invite you to, if you want to talk more about how to create a blueprint, or if you're feeling like you're a little bit stuck, or if you feel like you need help, you just want to talk through some things, I invite you to schedule a free pulse check call with me. The link is going to be in the caption, so feel free to do that. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in here. If you feel like this video was helpful, let me know. If there are other things you want to hear about or you want to get information about, please let me know. Put them in the comments or send me a direct message. All right, you guys? So thank you so much. I'm going to let you go, and I will see you on the next video. All right? You guys have a good night.